Hey you guys, it's Steph and welcome back to my channel. And welcome to my Tarte Shape Tape review. It's gotta be done. So unless you've been living under a rock for the past few weeks, then you will know that the Shape Tape foundation from Tarte recently launched. I've got their concealer right here. It's like one of the best-selling concealers ever. Everyone loves it. It's one of my faves. And when they came out with the new foundation, everyone went crazy. And then everyone saw the color range and everyone was like, what? I'm not going to go too much into detail about my thoughts on the shade range or lack of shade range, but I think we can all agree on the fact that this foundation is pretty much a foundation just for white people. Pretty much everyone, including me, has the same thoughts on this foundation and the fact that no matter how good it could potentially be, the shade range is just not on. I mean, it's 2018. We are all aware that not just white people wear makeup. And I know that Tarte have released a statement saying that they are going to be coming out with more shades as soon as possible, but it really shouldn't have been an afterthought. They should have just postponed the launch of the foundation, come out with a full shade range from lightest to darkest. And I just think it would have been so much more of a successful launch because I feel like now they've kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit because a lot of people, especially people of color, are going to be a little bit turned off by Tarte, and I feel like they have quite a lot of making up to do. I know I don't tend to talk about too many controversial topics here on my channel. I like to keep it strictly makeup, but when it's something this big, I feel like I just had to say something, especially with my size of audience. I feel like it would be kind of irresponsible if I didn't say at least something. And even though I guess I am technically calling out Tarte in this video, it's not just them that have a limited shade range. There are a ton of very, very well-known brands that have just been completely dismissing the darker shade ranges. And to be completely honest with you, it's just fucking shit. But despite all that crap, I did still want to give it a go for both my personal use and also I wanted to let you guys know my thoughts just in case you do have your shade range. So I went ahead and placed a little order with Tarte. As you can see, I picked up both formulas. So we have the hydrating one and we also have the matte one. I got them both in the shade medium tan honey and I think this was like the 4th or 5th darkest shade. I'm white. But yeah, I thought I would share with you my thoughts. I thought I could maybe put one on one side of my face and the other on the other side of my face, and we'll see what the differences are. So without further ado, let's get into it. But first, let's take this makeup off my face. Have I had lipstick on my teeth this whole time? So what I'm going to do, to be completely fair, is I'm going to be using the same like moisturizer slash primer on both sides. I'm using the Urban Decay Hot Springs Hydrating Gel. Just pop that all over my skin. All right. I'm ready. So, like I said, I've got both formulas and they are both in the shade medium tan honey. So let's crack open these bottles. Like I said, they were £35 each, so not the cheapest foundation in the world. Here's the hydrating one. Here is the matte one. Pretty much the exact same bottles. The hydrating one has a little teardrop and just a different color band. And inside, I'm just seeing how much product you get. You get 30 ml, which is fairly standard, so that's not too bad. Just open this up. Oh, you've got the Shape Tape doe foot. Yes. So I'm going to quickly check this color. Looks like that. That doesn't look too bad. Maybe a little bit too dark. I'm not sure. We'll have to see how it looks, but it's close enough. There weren't really like any swatches of seeing like how the colors looked on people. It's quite hard to determine which color would be for me. But I think we can make this work. So that one there was the hydrating. Let's see if the colors differ at all. Take that one. Oh. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see that, but they are quite a bit different. The hydrating one is more of like a neutral yellow undertone, and the matte one is more like peachy. That's a lot more peachy. Like, that's just not just me, is it? That is really different. Shit. Okay, that makes no sense to me because why would they be different colors? I get like maybe slightly different because it's a different formula, but these are literally like completely different undertones. I mean, I think they'll still both work. Maybe when they're blended out, they won't look too different, but I'm going to be walking around with half of a yellow face, half of a peachy face. Great. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit because we're going to get up close and personal so we can really see how this foundation works. How you doing? Okay, so I think my skin is generally pretty even on both sides, so I don't think it really matters which I use on which side. So I'm just going to take the matte one and apply that to this side of my face. Don't really know how much to use, but I'm just going to cake it on as always. You know me. So to make sure it is completely fair, I'm going to be using the exact same sponge. It is clean despite how it might look, and I have wet it just with water. And I'm going to be using different sides for different sides of my face. So let's see how this goes. Okay, this is definitely quite matte. Still seems to be fairly glowy though. Just from the get-go. And the coverage seems to be pretty good. In all honesty, I was expecting it to be better coverage because the concealer's like pretty intense anyway. Does seem to go quite a long way actually. Like, I don't think I needed that much product, but that is definitely, that's pretty orange. Okay. This color isn't ideal. But it's not like it's too dark. It's just the completely wrong undertone, but I don't really understand because the other one is so much more of like a neutral color. It's added like a nice amount of coverage. It is full coverage. It's not the most full coverage foundation I've come across. It's not like Huda Beauty or Milani Tone 1. It almost feels like a slightly less coverage Huda Beauty foundation. Like that one's like crazy coverage. That's like you got light coverage, medium, high, and then there's Huda, which is like right off the scale. This is just kind of like a high coverage version of that. Okay, so far, so good with that foundation. Just should have got a different color. So next we'll move on to the hydrating one. Again, same color, medium tan honey. So this is the one that was a bit more of like a yellowy tone, I think. Yeah, I think we went a bit too dark with this, guys. Hopefully we can kind of like balance it out with concealer, but let's just ignore that for the time being. Let's ignore the fact that I picked the completely wrong color. I'm going to take the other side of my sponge, so the one I haven't used yet. And we'll blend this out. Yeah, that one is a bit more of like a neutral undertone. So I feel like we could kind of blend that out a little bit or like lighten it up with some drops. Okay, that one's definitely a lot more dewy. And there still seems to be quite a bit of coverage to it. I was expecting the matte one to be like really full on coverage and then the dewy one to be like medium coverage. Seems to be covering up my dark circles just like the other one does as well. It's just got a bit more of like a shine. Yeah, that colour is definitely a lot better. I think it is just a little bit too dark for me. Or maybe just like a little bit too yellow for me almost. So I will need to use like my NYX foundation drops just to lighten it when I next use it. But I feel like that's definitely like a better colour for me. This one is just like too peachy. But maybe I could mix them or something. Ooh, I wonder what they'd be like if you mix them. I bet that would be bomb. Looking at it again, I feel like maybe there is a little tiny bit less coverage on the hydrating one, probably because it does have more of like a moisturising ingredient to it. So it maybe thins it out a bit more. But as far as my thoughts on the actual foundation, just with like without concealer, without powder, anything like that, I like both of them. I feel like when I'm a bit more dry, I'll go for hydrating, and when I want something a little bit more dewy. And then when I want something a bit more matte, if I'm looking a bit oily, I'll go for the matte one. So yeah, I'm actually really quite impressed with both of them so far. So next, what I'm going to do is take my Tarte Shape Tape. Now I only have one of these in the shade Light Neutral. I use it all the time. And I'm just going to highlight under my eyes on both sides. Make sure we're even again, just so we can get like the full review. And then I'll just blend all of that out. Gotta say, those two paired together, kind of perfect. Like, legit, kind of add a little bit of It Cosmetics by my under eye, or my new favourite Model's Own concealer. I think we're on to a winner. And then same for the hydrating side. Alright, so blend it out with concealer. I do think there is slightly less coverage on this side actually. Like, I don't know if you guys can see, but I have a slight bit of discoloration here that is kind of like poking through. And this side does just look a bit more flawless. I just wish the colours were the same, because if this foundation, the matte one, was this colour, I feel like I would prefer the matte one so much more. I do still really, really like the hydrating one. I definitely feel like for more of a kind of everyday makeup look, when I want something a little bit more natural, then this is still really, really nice. And I am happy that I got both. Like, I don't really feel like I wasted any money because I do really, really like how both foundations look. I just feel like it would be even better if the matte one was the matte formula, but with this color, because this one is just a bit too peachy for me. I do think I can make it work, but it isn't just something I can like throw on and it's like my perfect color. But yeah, there definitely is more coverage on the matte side than the hydrating, but the hydrating is still like a medium to full coverage, I'd say. So I'll just do like a really awkward stare at the camera quickly and show you guys like how they both compare. So that's the matte side. Still got like a nice little bit of glow to it just on the high points of my face. It's not like completely powdered down matte. And then this side for the more hydrating, a little bit more glowy, not as full coverage, but still like a medium to full coverage. Now what I'm going to be doing is setting that all in place using my Laura Mercier translucent powder. Again, I'm going to be doing it exactly the same way on both sides, just so we're being completely fair. So I'm just going to take that powder and just press that under my eyes. Not like proper baking, but I'm just going to leave it there for a few seconds and dust that off. Then I just take a big fluffy brush, swirl that in my lid, and I'm just going to pat that all over the rest of my face and just kind of dust off that bake as I do it. Okay, now that I've powdered it down, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to tell on camera, but I can see that there is a fair bit of colour difference because I guess like they've both slightly oxidized, but the matte side has oxidized a little bit more. All right, so looking at it, the matte side looks a lot more heavy, kind of like around my nose and mouth, which to be fair, a lot of full coverage foundations do tend to look a little bit more cakey, like around my nose and mouth, but this one is a little bit more intense than usual. This side, once it's powdered down, looks fab, looks really, really flawless in terms of like how it sits on the skin. There isn't as much coverage, like I know I keep saying that, but as I'm like seeing it on my skin, I am noticing a few more imperfections coming through. Like I can still see a few little red marks and stuff like that. The matte side is creasing around my mouth more so than the hydrating side, but again, that makes sense. The hydrating side isn't going to sit into my fine lines as much. I'm literally finding like there's one thing that I like about this foundation and there's one thing that I don't like about this one. And then the thing that I like about this foundation, I don't like about this one. So I'm thinking if I maybe start combining them together, then we could be in business. I mean, it'll essentially be a £70 foundation as opposed to a £35 one, but I feel like that's going to be the best option for me. I do really like them both on their own, but I feel like for something that I'm going to be like, yes, that is pretty much perfect, I'm going to need to combine the two. So I'm going to be doing a full face of Tarte makeup very, very soon. So I'm going to combine the two in that video and we'll see how we go. But overall, drama aside, I'm actually really, really impressed with both of these. I don't like how the colours vary depending on which formula you pick up. That kind of sucks. The matte one I like for more of a full coverage, but I feel like I'll be wearing the hydrating one more for like an everyday look. Overall, I really like both of them. If they can sort their shade ranges out and maybe go back in time and not come out with such a shoddy shade range in the first place, I think this is a good foundation. I just maybe wish I got the right colour. Alright guys, so those are my thoughts on the ever controversial Tarte Shape Tape foundation. Let me know which side you guys prefer in the comment section down below. I'll be sure to add like a cutaway or something of me wearing a full face with like contour, bronzer, highlight, all that jazz so you can see how they both compare. So let me know which side you prefer. If you guys enjoyed this video and if you found it helpful, then please do give it a big thumbs up because that really does help me out a lot. And also subscribe if you do want to see more of me because I upload all the damn time. But apart from that, that's it from me. I love you guys and I will see you in the next one. Bye.